So welcome to my top 5 most hated Naruto characters. Now this list is going to be comprised of two different things. One being that these characters are absolutely hated by the fandom because of the wrong reasons. And what I mean by that is they either hate the characters because of their characterization being off or contradictions or things of that nature. But the other side is going to be characters that are hated for the right reasons as well. So there's going to be characters on the list that is like, hey, they're meant to be hated, they were written that way, but we still hate them nonetheless. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 5, Karin, aka Oh, I Love Sasuke, mate. She made it onto the list because her character from day one until the very end, she had potential to be something interesting because of her powers, but ultimately she fell into the same category as another character, Sakura Hara, where basically it all amounted to her wanting Sasuke. It was always about Sasuke, never a second thought, and that's one of the things I don't like about characters like that in general, but ultimately her character went beyond. It's basically like, even until the epilogue chapter, it was her thinking about Sasuke, wanting something to do with Sasuke, and it's like, your character could have had so many different options, it could have done so many different things, but instead, it was just non-stop, I love Sasuke, I love Sasuke.
I love Sasuke, I love Sasuke.
Even though the dude pretty much didn't give a shit about her, didn't show her any kindness or affection, and pretty much treated her like crap, attempting to even kill her on certain times. So that's why she made it onto number 5, because honestly, she was hated for the wrong reasons. She should not be hated, but she ultimately is because of the way her character was. Coming in at number 4 is the character that's hated for the right reasons, and I think you guys know if you followed my Naruto reviews for years, and even if you didn't, you gotta know who this character is. Danzo. The dude is responsible for so many different catastrophes in the league, and it was all because one big reason: he wanted power, and ultimately he felt like he should be the ruler, and he had these martial laws. Now granted, people would argue that, hey, at the very least he embodies what a real shinobi should be like. He was hard, but ultimately he had a purpose and a goal that was good and stuff like that, but he was just a scumbag, and what he got in the end was so rightfully just. And that's one of the things about a character that is written to be hated, is that when they finally get what's coming to them, you feel so good. I mean, him being behind what happened to the Uchiha, basically being racist towards them, and that was kind of, handed off to him by Tobirama, but he took it to the next level. It was like he got what was coming to him, him sniveling behind the third Hokage's back, him always doing different things, treating people in certain manners, and then ultimately trying to become Hokage. You got what was coming to you, and Danzo definitely was a hateful piece of shit, and that's why he came in number 4, because he was just a scumbag. Coming in at number 3 is a character that a lot of people would argue ultimately ruined the ending of Naruto for them. They didn't like ultimately where Naruto went because of this character, and I'm talking about the final villain of the canon manga of Naruto, the 700 chapters, Kaguya Otsutsuki. One of the things is that she really wasn't foreshadowed until very late in the story. Even during the war, there still wasn't really mentions of her up until the Madara fight, and you would think for somebody to be the final villain, they should be foreshadowed for a long time to come. It felt as though she ruined one of the greatest villains in the entire story, Madara's moment, by appearing in general and taking over. It's like, we had an incredible villain, he was strong as hell, and she kind of ruined everything with her plot, which didn't really have much to her, which is another reason why she's hated so much by the fandom, is that she didn't really have that much of a big or interesting purpose. It was just kind of like, I want chakra back, and you kids, you messed everything up, I want my chakra back. And even after they added filler in the anime to kind of explain her character, we still don't understand her obsession with the chakra. It's kind of like, yeah. Not to mention, with her being the final villain, it was lackluster in a sense of she didn't really accomplish much. It was kind of like, yeah, no bodies under her belt. I mean, again, if you argue about Obito, but Obito was dying one way or another, so it really wasn't a body under her belt. So she didn't really even accomplish much for being the final villain. You would think for the final villain, she should have took heads left and right. She should have done so many different things, but it was just kind of like the Moon Eye plan dropped her on our lap and basically ended the series with her, and I'm like, ugh. So that's definitely why a lot of people hate her and feel as though she ruined the ending of Naruto for them, because she just really wasn't fit to be the final villain, nor did she accomplish anything for being the final villain for that matter. Coming in at number 2 is somebody that's arguably responsible for a lot of the events in the Naruto story. He's responsible in a way for the deaths of Naruto's parents. He's responsible in a way for the death of the Uchiha clan. He's responsible for a lot, and I'm talking about Obito Uchiha. Now, some would argue that he's meant to be hated because he was a scumbag and shit like that, but it goes a little bit further with this character. The reasons why people hate him is, for starters, his flip-flopping character, his motives as to why he did everything that he did, and everything about the character after we got the revelation in chapter 599, who was under the mask of Toby. Not to mention the fact that there was many contradictions as to how he could do certain things, being the fact that he wasn't that strong when he first fell under the rock. He was still tuning at that particular point, but he really wasn't all that strong to be able to do a lot of things that he did. But then the fact that the mystery behind Toby was like, people really wanted to know who this guy is and why is he so mysterious and how did he get this strong. strong. And when you find out it's a kid that got crushed by a boulder years ago, that already is strike one. Then on top of that, you find out the motive as to why he put the world in chaos. He summoned the most incredible and immaculate beast of all time to destroy the world and take over. And everything that he basically set out to do was for his little crushed girlfriend, not even girlfriend, from childhood. It was basically like, hey, I fucked the world up, killed so many people, was responsible for the death of many because I wanted a little girl. Like, that's one of the main reasons as to why people hate Obito. Now, you can argue if he got redemption at the end for what he did, but nonetheless, the dude is branded a scumbag for life for destroying the world, all because of a little girl dying in his past. And coming in at number 1. Now, the reason why this character took the number 1 spot, I'm gonna be honest with you, is because the character's importance to the series is definitely extreme, to the point that the amount of flaws and the amount of wasted potential is too extreme to ignore. And I think a lot of you could have guessed this one. I'm talking about Sakura Hara. She is hated for all of the wrong reasons. She's not hated as to, oh man, she's so good to be hated. She is the main heroine of Naruto. She's supposed to be, you know, the main female that holds it down and stuff like that. And a lot of her character has wasted potential. I mean, in part 1 of Naruto, she really wasn't all that useful. She just kind of was like backing up Naruto and Sasuke and kind of learning little techniques and stuff like that. But she really wasn't all that much help. So you would have thought by Shippuden, she would have been like, you know, this extremely amazing character. But honestly, she really didn't get many moments, and a lot of her power-ups and a lot of her ways of thinking that she was up to Naruto and Sasuke felt like BS. Not to mention that her entirety of her character and her goals and motives in life all amounted to something similar to the number 5 on this list, Karin. She just wanted Sasuke. Everything about it just wanted Sasuke, and that's one of the things that ruins her character entirely, is that the dude stabbed through her. The dude did so many different horrible things, and in the end, she still sticks around, no, I want him, and ultimately has a child with him. Now, I'm not gonna say one way or another how I feel about, you know, them getting together at the end of the series, but I will say the fact that this guy never gave a shit about you, called you annoying, never wanted you around him, basically had no interest in you, and you still kept running after his ass for 700 chapters, there is something wrong with you, girl. The fact that her biggest moment up until the war in Shippuden, and pretty much up until that point in the story in general, was when she was being controlled by Granny Chiyo to fight Sasuke, that is disappointing. And then in the war, when she did have her moments, it was just kind of like, ah yes, you know, I had this diamond and I was storing it all along so I could keep up with Naruto and Sasuke, and then claiming that she caught up with the both of them when clearly they were out of her league, clearly she was nowhere near them, is ridiculous. And then even in the final fight with Madara, she was making mistakes, jumping out there and doing all sorts of dumb shit. Like, Sakura Hara, there are so many reasons to hate her. Her being the main heroine of the story is one of the main reasons why I feel as though she's number 1 and should be the most hated of all of Naruto, because for being the main or one of the main protagonists, you should not be hated this much. You should not have this many flaws to the point of it being ridiculous, and your goals and motives should be far expanded beyond, hey, I want some dude that doesn't give a shit about me. But that's it. That's my top 5 most hated Naruto characters of all time. Let me know what you guys think. Did I miss out on a character? There were a few other different characters that I had in mind for the list, but ultimately when I had to crack it down to just 5, those were the 5 that I selected. Again, some of the characters were on there for the right reasons, like Danzo, you're supposed to hate him. Some of them were for the wrong reasons, like Sakura Hara. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you think that there was other characters that I missed? Do you feel as though I should have placed them differently? Do you feel as though there's characters that shouldn't have been on the list at all? And your overall thoughts of this. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoy the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. Anyone more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.